Hello trader, welcome to weekly Forex forecast for the first week of 2025. Quite a few eventful week coming up with quite a few public holidays as well as trading days. So with that trading days, we might find some trading opportunity, though the market might be a little slower. We will be looking to see lower time frame trading opportunity whenever there will be events in the market. So based on that, I will be doing a complete multi-time frame analysis of all the instruments that you can see on the list, starting with DXY, NZDUSD, British Pound, US Dollar, Euro Dollar, Dollar CAD, GBPJPY, Dollar Yen, and XAUUSD, including WTI, AUDUSD, and also we'll be looking at BTCUSD and Ethereum USD. So with that being said, let's begin weekly Forex forecast for the first week of 2025. Okay, so let's begin with DXY to understand what kind of trading opportunity you might have other USD pairs, as we can find a clear idea about most of the USD pairs based on DXY analysis. Starting with, first of all, monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. On DXY, we can see that this market, as expected, back-to-back 3 months was in a very strong bullish momentum. We have seen that there was a breakdown here, followed by a complete breakout from this level. Back-to-back 3 months bullish move, and this monthly candle is nearly closing, and what we could see that as it is still in a bull move, we could see potential further upside. Now before we see that potential upside, we might see before the monthly close a deeper pullback in that market. So let's see from the weekly perspective what kind of price action is forming. Now from the weekly, we can see that it's a typical bullish market structure. From here we can see that impulse followed by this correction, and we can see another impulse, deeper correction, and it is creating another potential higher high. Now at the same time, we can see there was a weekly candle close with a narrow doji formation. Now this narrow doji, what we can see that it's in a still bull move, and that support level on the weekly perspective can give us potential important support level. And I think that from the weekly, if the market managed to break below this weekly support, we could see that at DXY moving back to the upside. Now dropping down to the daily chart, what we can see that from the daily, this is a bullish market structure. From here there is an impulse followed by 3 days of pullback in a bull flag, and there has been another bounce, and we can see the market currently in a narrow consolidation. Now this consolidation, we can see from the daily creating series of lower high. We could see that DXY potentially dropping further. What I think that we might see deeper pullback and then continuation to the upside. Now looking at the 4-hour perspective on DXY, we can see that in this lower time frame, the market is forming a structure which might lead that price back to the downside to this support level. If we look at the 1-hour chart to see how the market structure might be evolving on DXY, we can see that this market is, if you look at here, it's a semi-circular structure forming series of lower high, and it could lead that price back to this support level before bouncing back up. This could be the wave for potential for the upcoming week, and based on that wave, we can look for potential trading opportunity for the upcoming week with other instrument. So now let's see, based on this, what kind of trading opportunity we can see on NZDUSD, looking at the monthly chart again to see overall picture in the market. Now from the monthly, we can see that NZDUSD also in a very strong downtrend. This is the monthly candle so far has dropped well below this support level, and at the same time we can see the market is approaching a very significant support. As it is nearing to that support, highly likely we could see that NZDUSD ultimately breaking below and testing that support before bouncing back up or breaking down further. If we look at the weekly chart to see how the market is doing, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly price action where the market is creating series of lower high in this area, and what we can see from the weekly perspective, this is the narrow weekly candle where there is a weekly resistance line here. And what we can expect on NZDUSD for the market to come to move up for a deeper pullback and then to continue to drop. Now looking at the daily chart on NZDUSD, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is where the daily bearish engulfer, which has grabbed that massive amount of liquidity and then dropped back below, followed by a doji formation. Now with that doji formation on NZDUSD, what we can expect it for the market to bounce, grab the liquidity, and then to drop back again towards the downside. Now from the 4-hour perspective on NZDUSD, what we can see that this is an important level of resistance on this channel. The market is coming slowly towards the downside, and what we can expect for the market to go up for a deeper pullback, as we can expect DXY to come down before bouncing back up. We can expect on NZDUSD to bounce for a deeper pullback, potentially break up this channel, and then continuation towards the downside. This could be the wave on NZDUSD in the upcoming week. Now let's look at British Pound US Dollar to see how the market might be doing. Now looking at the monthly chart on GBPUSD, we can see that from the monthly, this is the monthly candlestick pattern where back-to-back 3 months, very strong drop on this level. On the monthly, the price is approaching this monthly support level where there is a high liquidity zone, and as back-to-back 3 months a strong drop, we could see that NZD British Pound US Dollar, pardon me, we could see further downside here to this support level as this market in a bearish momentum. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective, the market trend is down. We can see from here a very strong drop from this level, followed by this pullback with a bearish engulfer, had a very strong drop, followed by another pullback to the upside. And what we can see that back-to-back 3 weeks bearish move, followed by last week we saw a narrow green doji formation that could lead that price, what I think that potentially bouncing for this break of this high. Then we can expect for the market to drop again as it form a green doji here, which might lead a little bounce to the upside. If the market managed to break this weekly high, we can expect downward pressure in this market. Now looking at the daily chart on British Pound US Dollar, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily drop here, a pretty strong drop, followed by sideways movement with a triangular pattern, and we can see that there is a 1 daily bullish candle that might give another momentum for the price to go up again, to retest and then to continue to drop in this lower time frame. Now looking at the 4-hour chart on British Pound US Dollar, we can see that from this lower time frame, the market managed to break out with a stronger bullish momentum, followed by we can see a pullback. And this is the lower time frame, the market trying to move in a sideways, expecting British Pound US Dollar for the price to continue to bounce. What I think that initially we might see a bounce and then continue to drop to the major direction of the trend. That could be the wave for the upcoming week on British Pound US Dollar. Now let's look at Euro Dollar. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have. Looking at the monthly chart on Euro Dollar, we can see that from the monthly, like the GBPUSD, we can see back-to-back 3 months Euro Dollar was in a bearish move. This is the monthly candle so far on Euro USD, which is also showing potentially bearish. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly perspective, back-to-back also 3 weeks strong drop here. Last week we saw a narrow doji formation. With that narrow doji, the market formed that doji, and what I think that this week we might see an attempt from the buyers to break this high before coming back again to the support level. Now dropping down to the daily chart to see how the market is doing, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is a well-defined bearish market structure where the market is forming series of lower high and lower low, which is in a downtrend. And with the downtrending market structure, what we can expect is from the daily, what I think that we might see another attempt from the buyers. It might try to test this daily 20 EMA or test this swing support as a resistance, and then to continue to drop potentially towards the downside. Now from the intraday perspective, from 4-hour chart, we can see that Euro Dollar currently If you look at, it's in a triangular pattern formation, and that triangular pattern, what we can expect on euro dollar for the market to potentially bounce, and there is a gap here where there is a high liquidity zone, and from that gap what we can expect on euro dollar to grab more liquidity and then to drop again to the downside. That could be the wave on euro dollar for the upcoming weekend. As soon as we will find suitable entry, we will be looking for going short with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at dollar CAD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this market. Looking at the monthly chart on dollar CAD, we can see that from the monthly perspective, this is a bull market on dollar CAD. We can see from here there is a very strong breakout with a very strong momentum on the monthly perspective on dollar CAD, and that monthly bounce, we might see the price is again moving back up to the resistance line potentially. If we look at the weekly chart on dollar CAD, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly price action where there is an impulse followed by a correction. We can see it is in another impulsive phase, and with that impulse, if you guys look at it, you can see this is the weekly candle that has closed, and with a very short volatility that might give a potential pullback, and this weekly support is quite important as we can expect for the market dollar CAD to come retest and then to bounce back up again. Now if we look at the daily chart on dollar CAD, we can see that from the daily perspective also this is a bull market. We can see from here there is an impulse, pretty strong impulse, followed by this correction, and we can see another bigger impulse followed by deeper correction. And with that correction, what I think that we might see deeper pullback on the lower time frame here in that area as there is a consolidation and then to return back again to the upside. Now looking at the 4-hour perspective on dollar CAD, we can see that in this lower time frame the market has consolidated here. So you can see this is a huge consolidation on dollar CAD with this triangular pattern, and the bulls tried to break this high, and we have seen that immediate rejection, expecting dollar CAD to come back again for deeper movement and then to bounce back up. We could see that potentially on dollar CAD to come back again to retest the support and then to continue in the major direction of the trend. Now let's look at yen pairs, and then also we'll be looking at XAUUSD. Looking at GBPJPY, we can see that from the GBPJPY perspective, looking at the monthly chart, we can see from the monthly this is a very strong bull market on GJ, and with that monthly impulse on GJ, it's a very strong bullish candlestick pattern formation. On the monthly, the price tested this high and closed as a bullish engulfer. We might see that GJ currently continuing to the upside to create a new higher high. Now if we look at the weekly perspective on GBPJPY, we can see that from the weekly, this is a weekly impulse here. From here, pretty strong impulse on the weekly, and with that impulse, what we can expect for the market on GJ is for the price to come back for a deeper pullback and then to continue to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now dropping down to the daily chart on GJ, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily impulse on GJ. We can see that there is an impulse followed by this correction, another impulse, deeper correction, and the market is forming series of higher high and higher low, which is an uptrending market structure on GBPJPY. What we can expect on the lower time frame for this instrument for the market to keep moving up with a stronger momentum. This is an important level of support here on GJ, and what we can expect, as you can see, there is a strong bounce, deeper pullback. The market currently trending respecting this series of higher low on GJ. We will be waiting for deeper drop here and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. As soon as we will find suitable entry on this area on GBPJPY, we will be looking for going long. Now let's look at dollar yen. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this instrument. Now looking at the dollar yen, we can see that from the monthly perspective on dollar yen, we can see this is the monthly bullish engulfer. So far the market was showing a very strong bullish trend. We can see that from this level there is a very strong bounce followed by deeper drop. Here on the monthly, the price tested this support level, and from that support the market managed to break out. Now this is where we can see this is the monthly bullish engulfer, expecting for the market to remain bullish. Now looking at the weekly chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the weekly perspective this is a bull market here as well. We can see from here an impulse followed by this narrow correction, another impulse, deeper correction, and we can see the market is in another impulsive phase here on dollar yen. And this is the weekly movement here, and with that weekly movement we can see this is the weekly candlestick pattern formation, which is in fact a bullish price action here. Now looking at the daily chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the daily this is a bull market, and from here after this order block formation on dollar yen, the market managed to, we can see there's a double bottom, a strong breakout, pullback, another breakout, deeper pullback. And last day of trading week we saw that dollar yen has formed a very narrow red candle formation on the daily perspective, which is potentially what I think that bullish continuation pattern. If we look at the 4-hour perspective on dollar yen, we can see that in this lower time frame the market trend is potentially up, and we can see there is a very strong bounce followed by this pullback, and we can see the market trending currently, creating series of higher high and higher lows, which is where you can see that there is a narrow doji formation here on dollar yen. And what we can expect in this upcoming week for the market to come for a deeper pullback and then to continue to rise again. As soon as we will find on dollar yen for the market to come back here for a deeper pullback, we can look for potential bullish trading opportunity. Now let's look at XAUUSD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this instrument, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. Now looking at the monthly, we can see that from the monthly perspective, here is the monthly price action, and if we look at the historical perspective on XAUUSD, we can see that it's a historically bull market. We can see from here there is an inverted head and shoulder, a strong breakout, pullback, and we can see this is another impulse on the monthly perspective on XAUUSD. So with that said, as you can see, this is the monthly, there is a healthy body with a long wick at the bottom on the monthly, and what we can see that this month the market has formed series of lower high, formed this monthly candle formation with a healthy body. Now this is almost nearly to the end of the month, and what we could see that before the monthly close we might see what I think that potentially a doji formation, so that might lead that price potentially back to the upside again before the monthly close. If we look at the weekly perspective, we can see that from the weekly there is a weekly doji, and this weekly doji that we can see is very narrow, and the market is from the weekly perspective potentially for me bearish. So we might see in the beginning of the week initial bounce. With the monthly close we could see further downside here. As we can see from the weekly perspective, there is a long doji, a strong breakdown followed by another long doji, another breakdown, and what I might see that another bounce, retest, and then continuation to the downside, as this is an important liquidity zone from the weekly perspective, which is an important support level. Now if we look at the daily chart on XAUUSD, we can see that from the daily perspective this is a downtrend here, and at the same time there is a liquidity grab in that area. So we can see the market grab that liquidity has dropped here to the support level, narrow doji formation, back to back two dojis, another drop, and the market has bounced back up again to the upside with a stronger momentum. Now this is the daily perspective on XAUUSD, where there is an important this is a resistance line here on XAUUSD, and what we can expect is for this market to move up, grab the liquidity, and then to drop again to the support level. Now looking at the lower time frame, if you look at the 1 hour chart on XAUUSD and the 30 minutes perspective, where we can see the market from the support level has got a very strong bounce in that area. And with that bounce, this is the 30 minutes perspective on XAUUSD, and we can see the market slowly moving up, and this is an important level of resistance here on this instrument on XAUUSD, where there is a high liquidity zone. So with that being said, as the market, we can see there is a drop, a pullback, another drop, deeper pullback, and where there is a huge consolidation pattern here. And with that consolidation, the market here, you can see a complete breakout with a stronger momentum. The price has broken that high. What I think that we might see short-term bounce here, as this is the weekly resistance where there is a high liquidity, but at the same time we can see the local downtrend. So as the market managed to break out from this level on the lower time frame, we might see further trend continuation to the upside, and then we can expect for the price to drop back again with the monthly close. That could be the wave for the upcoming week on XAUUSD, and based on that we can look for potential trading opportunity. Also, I'll keep you updated, guys and girls, during the weekdays how the market is doing with new update and analysis. Now let's look at WTI. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this instrument. Looking at the monthly chart on WTI, we can see that from the monthly perspective, this is the monthly price action here, where a series of lower high formation on the monthly on WTI, and with that monthly long wick candle formation. From the monthly perspective, this month we saw a very narrow volatility in this market, where what we can see, this is a resistance line here on the monthly, expecting WTI to bounce and then to return back again to create a new lower low. Now if we look at the weekly perspective on WTI, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly move here, which is a very smaller zone here from the weekly, and the market was in a very narrow consolidation here. But I think that on WTI, for the market to potentially bounce and then to return back again to create a new lower low. Now if we look at the daily chart on WTI, we can see that from the daily perspective here, this is the daily price action, where a daily impulse followed by a narrow bull flag formation, and we can see the market forming series of higher low here, expecting WTI from the daily to potentially bounce and break this trend line and then to drop again to create a new lower low. So looking at the lower time frame on WTI, what we can expect in this market, this is an important support level here on WTI. The market is in a channel, and with that channel formation on WTI, expecting for the market to bounce to the resistance line and then to drop again to create a new lower low. So this is where we might see that upcoming week this wave formation. Let's see how the price evolving. This is a prediction. We might see a different price action confirmation, and also I'll keep you posted during the live session as well. So now let's see AUDUSD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we may have in this instrument. Looking at the monthly chart on AUDUSD, we can see that from the monthly perspective here, this is also falling market. Starting from this resistance line, there is a strong drop on the monthly on AUDUSD, and this is the monthly candle which is nearly closing, expecting on AUDUSD for the market. What I think that we might see further downside, breaking below before bouncing back to the upside. Now if we look at the weekly chart on AUDUSD, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly impulse here, pretty strong impulse, followed by there is a weekly narrow doji formation, and we have seen another drop, another pullback. The market is in a strong downtrend here. So with that downtrend, this is the weekly candlestick pattern, expecting on AUDUSD to bounce potentially and then to retest, to drop back again to create a new lower low. So if you look at the daily chart on AUDUSD, we can see that from the daily perspective, the market trend is down here we can see that series of lower high formation here. And with that series of lower high formation on AUDUSD, every single day the market trending, there is a daily doji formation here. And what we can expect in this market is for the price to retest this resistance and then to return back again to create a new lower low. So looking at the intraday perspective on AUDUSD, we can see the market was in a very consolidation here, creating series of lower high, and at the same time forming long wick candles. Whenever the market is breaking out, we might see that the price is coming back again to create a new lower low. So with that in mind, AUDUSD expecting for the market to bounce, grab liquidity, and then to continue to drop to create a new lower low. So this could be the wave on AUDUSD. Now let's look at BTCUSD to see what kind of trading opportunity we have. Now looking at the monthly chart on BTCUSD, we can see that from the monthly perspective, this is the monthly price action on BTCUSD, and in that monthly price action we can see there is an impulse followed by this correction, another impulse, a deeper correction. Now currently BTCUSD, we can see this is a currently very strongly uptrending market. Starting from here, there is a huge bounce, and this is the monthly candle here on BTCUSD, where this is an important support level. We are almost nearing to the end of the month on BTCUSD, expecting for the price to grab liquidity and then to revert again to create a new low, higher high. So looking at the weekly perspective on BTCUSD, we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly price action here on BTCUSD with this very strong impulse on the weekly, narrow doji from the weekly, another impulse. And if we closely look at, we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly bearish candle followed by a narrow doji. And this weekly support that we can see on BTCUSD, what I think that we might see the price breaking below to grab more liquidity before moving back up again. Now looking at the daily chart on BTCUSD, we can see that from the daily, it's a very strong, we can see very strong uptrend on BTCUSD followed by a narrow pullback, and we can see another impulse, the market moving in a sideways fashion here on BTCUSD. And if we closely look at, we can see the market from this zone, there is a drop followed by deeper pullback, and we can see that it is in another drop here on BTCUSD. Now from the 4-hour perspective, we can see that in this instrument, in this lower time frame, expecting this market to potentially drop further and then to bounce back up again to create a new higher high. As we can see, the market previously reacted to that level from this structure, currently moving in a sideways. Highly likely that we could see deeper drop for deeper liquidity grab before it bounce back up to create a new higher high. This could be the wave on BTCUSD. Now let's look at Ethereum USD. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have in this instrument. Looking at the monthly chart on Ethereum USD, we can see that from the monthly, this is the monthly price action here on Ethereum. Previous months, a very strong bullish move, and this month so far almost nearing to the closing the candle. What I think that Ethereum might form this as a narrow red candle that might lead next month potentially again bouncing back up. As we have seen, there is a very strong breakout, and the market might in the upcoming month started to create another bullish structure here. Now looking at the weekly chart on Ethereum USD, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly level here, where an important support, resistance turning support here on the weekly. And what we can expect on Ethereum is for the price to come again to grab liquidity and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart on Ethereum USD, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is a daily important level here, where support series of higher low formation, and expecting Ethereum USD for the market to, what I think that we could see deeper drop and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the intraday perspective on Ethereum USD, we can see that there is a big drop, and the market currently forming series of higher low, expecting another potential drop and then to bounce back up, and that could be an important support level that Ethereum might react in the upcoming week and month. I hope that traders, you enjoyed this weekly forex forecast. If you enjoy, make sure you give a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updated education as well as analysis that I'm posting every single day.